You'll get to a point in your life where you think you might want to open up a restaurant, and you'll have a couple of choices to make. One of the choices will be whether you either buy an established restaurant or you want to set something up from scratch like this. Obviously the benefit of setting up something from scratch is that you'll be saving money. There's some downsides though. The first thing you'll need to consider when you want to buy a premises or lease a premises like this one is whether or not there's an opportunity for a planning permit to be issued for the place to be used as a restaurant. And so in the first instance, what you should do is go and have a conversation with your planning department of your local council. During that conversation, you want to tell them, is it going to be a licensed restaurant or something that's just going to be BYO? So that's something to consider. Other thing to consider this, and this is some of the mistakes a lot of people make more often than not, is when they're actually setting themselves up, what they might do in a place like this is they might actually sign a lease as an individual person, and then subsequent to that get advice from an accountant as to how they should set themselves up. And what they then tend to do is they set themselves up as a company. Unfortunately, the problem from a liquor licensing sense is that the lease has to match that of the license. And so the mistake people make is they'll sign a lease under one entity and they'll try to apply for a liquor license under another. If you didn't want to start something from scratch and you'd prefer to buy an existing business, like this one perhaps, one consideration you need to make up straight away, do you want your business to be licensed or do you want it to just be BYO? The advantage of having a license obviously is that you can generate additional revenue by having it licensed, but sometimes it might take a little bit more when it comes to the transfer of the liquor license. Some of the things that people make mistakes, just like I mentioned before, the entity problem where you sign a lease with the landlord and you try to get the liquor license in a different entity, that won't work. But other things you need to consider are this. Some licensed restaurants will not have patron capacities endorsed on their liquor license. If that's the case, one of the things you're going to need to do straight away is get a building surveyor's report to identify the fact how many patrons can this premises actually hold. Well, I hope you found this tutorial beneficial. There's a number of others we have on our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and then check our channel out at Liquor Consultancy Services. Remember, whether you take over an existing licensed premises or whether you decide to open something from scratch, take your time. Don't rush it, and make sure you've got plenty of advance warning in doing things. Otherwise, the whole process will come to a screaming halt and there'll be delays in the way you open your business. I'll see you next time.